to 4. Organization.
Do you have a gardening problem? We can help you with that. A program dedicated to help you grow a better garden, maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make that grass look a little bit greener, as well as preserving what you grow. We're here to help you with your gardening problem. You're tuned in to Garden Talk Radio.
You are listening to the most informational-packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging projects, visit powerplanter.com. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on the program. Whether you're joining us through your radio, our show is being broadcasted on one of the 16 stations across the United States here in 2020, through a radio app, the website, our website, the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.com, under the Season 4 radio tab, or in-studio video replay or podcast replay. We thank you for taking time and being part of the program. I am your host, Joey Baird. Besides me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, to grow healthier trees, indoors and out, however you're growing, as well as preserving what you grow. You can get a hold of us by emailing us anytime at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. You can also give us a call 24/7, 365, whenever you've got a question. Our number is always open. It's 1-800-927-SHOW. 1-800-927-SHOW. Show. 1-800-927-SHOW. Well, we got a show lined up for you. We're going to be talking about canning what you grow, as well as how gardening is effective for positive mental health, as well as author Marion Nestle will be with us. We're going to talk about the politics in the food that we eat. That'll be a good conversation, as well as answering your garden questions. So before we get in the program, I want to ask if you would help us out with a little project we've got going on. If you go to our website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. You open it up, and at the top of the page, it's a pinned post. It's our 2020 Anonymous Gardener Survey. We do this each year to gather information in order to better serve you, as well as the sponsors that support this program and allow it to be on the air. We look at different trends and different stats of where you're at in the country, to what type of gardener you are, to even if you rent or own. All of these things determine how sponsors support us and if they support us at all. And it's totally anonymous. We don't know who you are when you do that, but we appreciate you fill that out. It takes what, Holly, about 2 minutes, if that?
It's not very long.
It's a click a box thing. You don't have to fill anything out. So if you would do that, we greatly appreciate that. And if you're listening in podcast replay or in studio video replay, check your show notes. That link will be provided there. And then one other thing, Holly, you know what happens at the bottom of the hour on this show today?
It's our halfway through the season.
That's right. Halfway through the season. 17 and a half shows done, 17 and a half shows to go. We do a 35 show season, and that's where we're at. So let's get into the topic of canning what you grow, Holly. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, Holly is a multi-award winning Wisconsin State Fair canner, and she has taken a number of courses through the rec department in the Milwaukee County, Milwaukee County.
The Milwaukee Rec Department.
Rec Department, that's it. So she knew nothing about canning before we got together. She didn't grow up with it. So she's learned a lot, and she teaches some basic of canning classes throughout the southeast Wisconsin area when that is allowed to do. So we're going to talk about canning what you grow, Holly.
Right. So canning is one thing that is really important to know, is that canning is a science. So this simply means that you need to follow the directions.
If you don't have ingredient A, you can't substitute ingredient B for that like you
We're
would
gonna-
do it.
we're gonna get to that,
like you
yeah.
would a cake. Yeah, that's
Yep.
that's the science of it.
So that means that it's important to realize this because you're taking a perishable item, you're putting it into a jar to make it basically a non-perishable item to make it shelf stable. So following the directions, realizing it's a science, there's a balance there is important. So you want to can safely. And one way you can safely is you follow the recipe and you make sure you have the ingredients for the recipe beforehand.
And when we do talks, people get agitated at you because they're like, but I can this way. And you keep saying, that's not the safe way to can. But I can this way, can't I? And you keep saying.
And I say, no, you cannot. I say, I'm teaching safe canning.
But I can still can the
But
stuff.
they want some sort of validation.
Right.
And I won't give it to them. And that's frustrating. So that's what's important. Now you also have to think about how you have the ingredients on hand. So if it says use bottled lemon juice, it doesn't mean, oh, I'm out of bottled lemon juice. I got this old lemon sitting in the fridge. I can just use that. No. So bottled lemon juice and certain vinegars and things have an acidity that's consistent. So it's usually 5%.
Consistent means safe.
Yeah, safe. But it means that like bottled lemon juice, it has a 5% acidity. You don't know that with your wayward lemon in the back of your fridge. So you want to keep that in mind. You want to use the ingredients that it says. So like, for example, if it says to add cinnamon, it doesn't mean to add some cinnamon sugar blend that you have that may have some sort of emulsifier or...
What is an emulsifier for those who are not...
It's like a thickener.
Okay.
Or something that you're not sure. Like if you're making a chili starter mix and it says add chili powder, cumin, garlic powder, onion, doesn't mean you need to throw in your packet of chili spice because that chili spice could have some sort of food additive in it.
You want
So
the raw ingredient.
Yeah, whole ingredient. So then you have to think about how do you can it? Is this a hot water bath? Is this a pressure canning? How do I can it? Maybe I don't have what I need. Maybe I just need to freeze it instead. You want to think about that.
Well, also, there's things in which we have canned, example being bush beans. We used to do it by the water bath method. That was when I was growing up. Now they have changed that it's not safe to do in the water bath. You have to pressure can it. We've tried that. We didn't like the texture or the flavor of them, so we strictly blanch and freeze those green beans. We don't can green beans.
No,
and that's our preference.
Right. We prefer them to be more
crispy. Snappy. Yeah.
So you want to keep that in mind. How do I can this? Water bath canning or pressure canning? So water bath canning is for high acid fruits or vegetables or something like jams, marmalades, chutneys, or if you take those fruit and vegetables and you add the addition of acid or sugar. So for example, for carrots, okay? You can can pickled carrots, but you cannot in a hot water bath, but you cannot can carrots in a hot water bath. The carrots themselves would have to be canned in a pressure canner. Because
of that liquid or that that ingredient that you're using either allows it to be pickled because of that vinegar or because it's a low acid, it can't be safely pressure can or safely
like
water
the
bath. Brine, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Same thing.
And that's a lot of, you can do a lot of different brines that it's safe in the water bath, but without that brine, it is simply unsafe to preserve unless you're pressure canning it at the proper duration of time.
Right. Even something like peaches, pears, fruit, whatever, you're adding some sort of sugar, whether it be its own juice, a juice, or some sort of syrup. You don't have to can stuff in a heavy syrup. You can do a light syrup or juice. And also, so aside from that kind of high acid or acid additional is tomatoes. And tomatoes, you do want to add some lemon juice or vinegar when you're canning those, whether sometimes the recipe like pasta sauce calls for vinegar, lemon juice. Sometimes if you're canning whole tomatoes, it calls for lemon juice. So you have to think about that as well.
And then you just don't want to use a recipe from Aunt Jeannie's cookbook.
Well, yeah, we're getting there. Okay, so then pressure canning
let's talk about pressure canning before we find sources here.
For the low acid food. So that includes things like root crops, squash, pumpkin, help me out here, green beans, carrots,
Potatoes.
yeah, peas, anything like that. Anything that is like just a vegetable, you want to pressure can, or if you're canning meat, anything like that, you want to use the pressure canner. It's going to get the temperature to where it needs to be.
And it also determines your altitude that you're at. That's a critical part of the time allotted for that pressure canning. Now, does the altitude also affect the water bath canning time, or is it just the pressure canning recipes?
Both.
Okay.
You want to be aware of your altitude. And most books and guides will say, like, if you're this altitude, this is what you need.
Add X amount of time or whatever to that time.
Right. So you have to keep that in mind. Like, we are at like sea level basically, so we're different.
In that frame.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's people who are, you people that are in the mountains or whatever are above sea level quite a bit. So that's one thing to definitely keep in mind. And then here's some good resources is Ball Canning. If you're familiar, that's a very good resource. Better Homes and Gardens, your University Extension, and the National Center for Home Food Preservation.
You just do not, as I brought up earlier, you just do not want to find Aunt Jeannie's recipe book and go, oh, well, she did this in 1947. I'll just follow the same recipe. And that doesn't work.
No, you want something within the last 10 years or so.
And there are certified master canners. There's not a lot of them because they don't depend on the state, isn't it? How that works?
Right. So there's certified master canners. I know in Wisconsin they only want so many per state or whatever region. But yeah, those people exist, and you can definitely reach out to them. Sometimes
you would call your local extension office, wouldn't you? And then
right.
that would be a good starting point to find that source.
Yes, that's correct. And then sometimes organic food stores have canning classes. It just depends. And our canning talk is mostly about the basics of canning. We don't do any canning.
No, it's here's the tools that you need. Here's the basics of what you can and can't and how. And we kind of do a dry run
right.
Of the procedures. Mm-hmm. But when you get into that whole, we're going to can tomatoes, there's a lot of things that...
It's not something we feel comfortable doing in 45 minutes.
Right.
So, and that's the thing is you definitely want to make sure why you want to read the recipe, because it might take you a little bit longer than you realize.
Well, let's talk about, before we wrap this up, canning, removing the rings when you store your canned goods. A lot of people don't do this. And also a lot of people, when they can, I wouldn't say a lot, but you see this on social media, they flip the jars upside down for them to cool. So
right.
Two things that are not necessarily good here.
Right. So, for one, when you pull your jars out of the canner, don't flip them upside down. You just want to pull them out of the canner and set them on a towel, like a dish towel or a cooling rack, whatever. You don't want to put them directly on the table or counter. And then you also want to just, after they're done sealing, when you hear those pops from the seal that occurs.
Pings.
The pings. You want to remove the rings, and you want to remove the rings when you put them in storage, because if you leave that ring on, one, you can reuse that ring for other canning, as you continue to can. And two, if you leave that ring on, say there's some sort of weird, reaction
yeah.
in the jar.
We've had about a dozen of them over the years that have popped in storage.
You want the lid to pop off. You don't want it. And if you have the ring on, it might reseal itself, or it might pop the jar open.
Explode the jar.
Yeah.
So always, whenever in doubt, throw it out. There's three things that we do when we open a new jar of anything that we've canned. We visually inspect it. We look at it. Then we smell it, because that's your second defense. And then if those two check out, it looks good and it smells good. Then we taste it. And then if it tastes off, we don't go, well, we're going to eat the peaches anyway.
Right. And that's the thing to keep in mind, is that this is why you want to can safely. Even if it doesn't smell, there could be something going on. Now, not saying that if you don't can safely, this is why you don't want to take shortcuts. You want to can safely to kind of safeguard yourself.
So there's some things to keep in mind. If you've got questions about your canning regimen or questions about canning in general, you can certainly send us an email at gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to our show. This is our 17th show of 2020. Did you miss last week's show? We talked about 5 tomato problems and what to do about them, and nematodes in your soil, the good and the bad. Our guest was author Pam Farley. You can listen to that show by going to your favorite podcast platform and searching the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener podcast, or we will make it easier for you. Just send us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and in the subject line put show 16, and we will send you the link. We will be right back. Do not go anywhere. We will be talking about how gardening is effective for positive mental health. You are listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, a show to help you become a better gardener, maintain your landscape, and help your trees grow better, make the grass look greener, and preserving what you grow for indoor and out.
You can bet the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardeners phone lines are always jammed during the show. So Joey and Holly keep their phone lines open 24/7 to help you. Call anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-7469. Or just remember 1-800-927-SHOW. SHOW. Leave a message and they will call you back.
If you love growing tomatoes, then you've got to try Tomato Secret by Dr. Jim. At the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener, we stand behind Tomato Secret and recommend it to all gardeners who would easily like to grow higher quality tomatoes with more color, more flavor, and less bugs and disease. Tomato Secret is specifically designed to grow high quality tomatoes that is made with 12 natural ingredients, so pure that you can feed it to a cow. Simply apply 1 cup in the hole at planting, then sprinkle 1 cup around the plant after 1 month. That is all it takes for the best tomatoes on earth. With this product, you do not have to guess what is wrong with your tomato plant because it has everything your plants need to be healthy and produce the most delicious fruit. You'll never grow tomatoes the same again. Grow the largest, juiciest, and most delicious tomatoes on earth. To find out more about Tomato Secret and other products, visit drjims.com. That's drjimz.com. Make watering easy. DripWorks provides quality drip irrigation supplies and equipment to gardeners just like you for all your growing needs across the U.S. and Canada. Purchase online at dripworks.com.
Tired of breaking your back while pulling weeds? Worrying about spraying chemicals around plants you want to keep? CHAPIN has the solution with the Weed Devil. The CHAPIN Weed Devil is a compact, lightweight, long-handled weed-killing machine. Powered with a rechargeable battery, you can start spraying with the touch of a button. Just choose your favorite herbicide, fill the tank, and spot spray as needed. To order the CHAPIN Weed Devil, visit www.chapinmfg.com. The new way to support your tomatoes, wrap it and snap it. Tomatosnaps.com.
Do not go anywhere. There is more of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show to come, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com.
Protect your plants against damage with a 3-in-1 plant guard and special blend fertilizer. Visit ivorganics.com.
Looking to kill weeds without using dangerous chemicals like glyphosate? An all-natural weed killer may be just what you're looking for. Green Gobbler's Vinegar Weed Killer is a concentrated herbicide derived naturally from corn. It's 4 times stronger than regular table vinegar, so it packs a punch against all kinds of pesky weeds. Use Green Gobbler's Vinegar Weed Killer to safely kill dandelions, crabgrass, clover, ivy, and more. It's perfect for driveways, pavers, fence lines, and other outdoor surfaces. Green Gobbler Vinegar Weed Killer is an effective and powerful herbicide, but it doesn't stop there. It's also certified for organic use, so when used properly, it won't negatively affect soil or wildlife. Since Green Gobbler's Vinegar Weed Killer is pure vinegar with no other additives, pet owners can let their pets out to play right after application. Search for Green Gobbler Vinegar Weed Killer on Amazon.com today. We offer a hassle-free money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
The Simply Solar Greenhouse is a one-piece molded fiberglass greenhouse that is easy to install and maintain. Multiple sizes available. Check them all out at migreenhouse.com. Responsible watering, accurate, fast, and efficient. Earth conscious. Visit waterhoop.com.
Bluemel's Garden and Landscape Center offers an awesome selection of high-quality garden and landscape products. We have just the plants you're looking for: annuals, perennials, veggies, herbs, and more. Plus, you can always count on us to answer all of your questions and offer expert advice. Bluemel's also carries the largest selection of bulk landscape materials in the area. Enjoy a beverage from our coffee shop while your kids run around in our huge playground. Join our growing list of highly satisfied customers. Visit the garden center that offers everything you're looking for. Visit Bluemel's today.
Bluemel's 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Power Planter Earth Augers, Ivy Organics, Root Maker, Pomona Universal Pectin, CHAPIN Manufacturing Incorporated, Pro Plugger, Tomato Snaps, World's Coolest Floating Rain Gauge. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Now here are your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Being outdoors is effective and positive for our bodies. Courtesy of Central Texas Gardener, a PBS program, it's called the Farm Effect is what they provided us for you, and it's very interesting, some of the facts and figures in which is provided in this little thing that you're going to read, Holly.
Most of you fans already know of the amazing healing energy that can be found with your hands in the dirt. Digging in the dirt is good for you and also for children as well. The microbes in the garden dirt can help boost your immune system and make you healthier and happier. Unfortunately, we have become a nation of germaphobes, using hand sanitizer and wipes and strong chemicals for disinfecting our homes. Right now, it's probably not a bad idea, but in general, in the past 20 years, there has been a dramatic increase in asthma and allergy rates. We see pharmacies popping up in every corner as a result. 1 in children has asthma and even more have allergies.
How many?
1 in 12.
Okay.
1 in 12 children. When we changed from an agrarian society in the late 20th century, allergies became more prevalent in the upper class in the U.S. and Britain. Farmers and their families were the least likely to suffer allergy issues. A recent study of an Amish community found that the U.S. found that they had the lowest rates of allergies in developed nations. The study found that these Amish families, including pregnant women and children, worked and played along farm animals and in barns where they were regularly exposed to a variety of microbes. Women are exposed to microbes while pregnant and have been found to have children with the lowest rates of allergies. The initial exposure causes the children have less reaction to pollen and dander, a sort of vaccination effect, which was named the farm effect. The problem is not that the pollen is out there, it's that we react to the pollen, and early exposure to allergen allows children's immune systems to adapt to their environment. A common soil mycobacterium was found to have a natural antidepressant effect on the brain, and it can actually have the same effect as the drug Prozac on the brain without all the side effects. Working in the soil can help stimulate serotonin production, which leads to feeling more relaxed and happy. When we harvest food, the brain produces more dopamine. There is an actual harvest high that is probably linked to our primitive brain when hunting and gathering successfully was crucial to survival. Having your hands in the soil can lower blood pressure and stress hormones to improve memory. Inflammatory skin conditions like psoriasis and gut conditions like Crohn's disease, even arthritis, can be improved by experiencing soil microbes. Gardeners get lots of vitamin D from being outside, and also increase the feel-good hormone, serotonin, and regulate melatonin levels, which leads to good sleep. Children who play outside regularly tend to be more adventurous, confident, and self-motivated, and use their imaginations more. So get the kids involved in gardening as early as possible. Provide them with a window box or container if you don't already have a garden space. You might notice that they will eat a wider variety of fruits and vegetables when they have the experience of growing and harvesting food. And let kids get dirty. Splash in puddles, make mud pies is not only fun for kids, it's actually good for them. And if you're feeling blue, a little garden green might be your best cure.
Thank you to Central Texas Gardener for providing that script to us. So
I just want to note that yes, it is good for your mental health, all of this, but these are strange times we're living in. So if you need some sort of professional mental help, definitely seek that out.
How gardening is effective for positive mental health. That proves a lot of the factors in regards to being outside and getting dirty, and how your mood and your mental state can change for the better.
So there's many reasons why. We're going to go over a few of them here. One, and this is probably my favorite one, is it helps you practice acceptance. So that means that there's a lot of us who have to control a lot in our lives, right? Like, okay, here's our planner. This is what we're doing. You know, we're doing this on Tuesday and this on Thursday and this on Saturday. And gardening is, you're working with nature. Does nature accept your planner, Joey?
No, but sometimes you have to accept what nature provides you, and that's a failure of a crop.
Right. So this provides you acceptance. You're like, well, I tried to grow these peas and they didn't work out, so I'm just going to go ahead and accept that, and we'll try again in the fall.
What else are you going to do?
What else are you going to do? So, and that also leads us to moving beyond perfectionism. Gardening teaches a lot of people to slow down, take things as they go.
The plant only grows so fast.
Right. And as you and I say, nature kind of sets our schedule. So sometimes you have to accept the fact that that's how nature's going to let it happen.
Right. Because across from Lake Michigan where we're at, there's people that's harvesting this, that, and other, and our plants are just babies because we couldn't put them in the ground because it was 28 degrees, and then over there it must have been much warmer. So that that's why you very rarely see the success of a nationwide Garden Talk radio show, because there's so many variables, so many climates, so many regions that if we tell you, hey, this is how you plant tomatoes, well, that's great and dandy. That is how you plant tomatoes, but you have to greatly adjust that time, whether you're in Austin, Texas, Portland, Oregon, or Raleigh, North Carolina.
Right. So that's important to think about. So developing a growth mindset, like literally, is another benefit to growing a garden. It helps you look towards the future. It helps you embrace your mistakes. You make a mistake in the garden, you learn from that mistake, you move on. And that's kind of a growth mindset thing. You want to learn from your mistakes and you kind of move on.
Yeah, keep a notepad, take pictures, quit doing what hasn't been working for you and try something different. Connecting with others. This is a little different right now during the situation here in 2020. But because of the technology we have available to us, the meetings online, social media platforms, we can connect with people that our grandparents never had the opportunity to connect. We've got friends that we can talk to in Australia, in Europe. We can send an email, and within a matter of minutes, they can email us back when it would take months. The old time, even if and then you need an address, and if you don't have an address, you just find it. It's the technology that's phenomenal, even if we can't physically be in the same garden or community garden with somebody.
Right, and it is definitely a connection. You're connecting to your world. You're connecting to the earth. You're connecting to your backyard, your whatever you have, your 5-gallon bucket, your patio. You're connecting with the greenery.
You're connecting with nature that provides food, and regardless of everything is based around food. The people that you hate and do not like and want to see dead, they like food just as much as you do. So there is
how much hate do you have?
There are people, and
there are people who are very hateful.
Yeah. But food brings all cultures, all ethnicities together. Whether you speak the same language or not, it all grows from the earth, and that's one of the very few things that we all have in common in this world is food to eat.
Oh, for sure. And it connects us to our culture. It connects us to other cultures, traditions, family, all sorts of things. Another benefit is you are bathing in green, which might sound kind of funny. But there's a Japanese expression called Shinrin Yoku, which can be translated to forest bathing, which means that you get this euphoric experience for being, in the woods, in nature, whatever.
Relaxes your
brain. Yep. And it gives you almost like a dopamine effect. And that is definitely one. Another thing is it allows you to be present. When you're working in the garden, I don't know about you, Joey, but we stop and we look at the birds. We see the robins hopping around. On the other day, we were watching the mama bird feeding the baby bird.
Yeah.
And it was very much in the present.
And you have it's one of those things. We interviewed a gardener years ago. And he said, we asked him, what's the best tip you can provide gardeners? He said, get in your garden and lay on your back and look up, because you're going to see a totally different level of gardening than you do when you're looking down from above.
Oh yeah, for sure. So that's definitely another one, is just being immersed in your garden, allowing yourself to be present. And then there's the physical exercise. You are bending over, you are squatting down, you're moving around, you're walking around, you're moving your body, and that's important, whether it be just to stretch, to feel good, whether it be to
not be in front of a screen of some sort.
Right. And you're out there being present, and it feels good.
Which is a little oxymoron for us, because we're in front of a screen all the time, and then we're in front of a screen filming for stuff that goes on a screen. So it's kind of, and then we're checking.
You're behind the screen.
Yeah, we're behind the screen. Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, being unplugged to a certain level, resets your system, your human,
sure.
your body.
Yeah, it definitely resets you, and it gives you a change of pace. A lot of us have been spending a lot of time in our homes, going outside to our garden. It helps kind of give your brain a different space.
And it reduces stress in that whole aspect as well. And it also helps you to eat healthier.
Yeah. So those are some really good reasons to garden for your mental health.
Disclaimer,
health.
We are not doctors. We are not psychiatrists or psychologists, but these are things that we find that helps us. So I just want to make clear that don't take our suggestions as doctrine or psychological, whatever the case is. So, if you do have very difficult situations, you need to seek professional help in those different areas.
Right.
Well, it's summertime and everything's starting to get warm. It's hot and your garden has those various beetles, weevils, borers, and the Japanese beetles have come back.
Now that the weather is starting to warm up, you'll want to protect your garden. What better way to prevent these pests from destroying your garden than by controlling them when they're larvae? Grub Gone is easy to apply granular product that may spread on your turf successfully, controlling grub invaders. Developed by Phylum Bioproducts from naturally occurring bacteria, Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT product that specifically targets only scarab pests and is safe to use around bees and other beneficial insects.
If you already have the Japanese beetles flying around your yard, Beetle Gone is the organic water dispersible powder that you can spray directly on your plants, your edible plants. Find out more on how to get the product from PhylumBioproducts.com. That's PHYLLOM bioproducts.com. It'll take care of the problem, and your garden will thank you for it. Do not go anywhere. Author Marion Nestle will be with us talking about politics and the food we eat. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, a program that helps your garden grow better.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you, creating holes fast and efficiently with ease. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com. Tree Ripe Citrus Company has top quality produce that comes right to your neighborhood with the freshest peaches and blueberries you'll find. To find locations, go to tree-ripe.com. Do not settle for the rest when you can have the best peaches and blueberries with Tree Ripe Citrus Company. Go to tree-ripe.com. Seed Savers Exchange has been saving, preserving, and sharing heirloom seeds since 1975, and today continues to provide those seeds to gardeners just like you. With 600-plus varieties offered in this year's catalog and 18,000 listings on their exchange, their gardener-to-gardener seed swap, Seed Savers Exchange is keeping cherished seed varieties alive. Visit seedsavers.org to request a free catalog or to purchase seeds online for this year's growing season. That's seedsavers.org.
Do not go anywhere. There is more of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show to come, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com.
Brought to you by Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardens, farms, landscaping, and more. Visit BlueRibbonOrganics.com or call 262-497-8539 to find their products nearest you.
Dig planting holes from a comfortable standing position. Step, twist, pull, and plant. Visit ProPlugger.com.
World's coolest raingauge.com. Need I say more? The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Phylum Bioproducts, Spartan Mosquito, Dr. Jim's, Nasala Kabucha, MI Greenhouse LLC, Green Gobbler, Water Hoop, Seed Savers Exchange. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. As the weather still cooperates with us and is relatively mild, Bluemel's Landscape and Garden Center can help you finalize those decorative and landscape designs that you want and have wanted on your property for a number of years. They do have additional plants that's still available at Bluemel's Landscape and Garden Center. They've got 40 varieties of bulk material that you can have delivered right to your property. If you've never been, you should check them out. I highly recommend it. You can find Bluemel's at 4930 West Loomis Road, just out off of Layton in Greenfield. You can give them a call at 414-282-4220, or you can visit them online at bluemels.com.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Now here are your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Marion Nestle is a retired professor of nutrition, food studies, and public health. She is also an author, columnist, and from 1986 to 88, she was a senior nutrition policy advisor in the Department of Health and Human Services and editor of the 1988 Surgeon General's Report on Nutrition and Health. Her website is foodpolitics.com. Welcome to the program, Marion.
Oh, glad to be here.
Well, we are very excited. We've kind of shared it with some of our friends that you were going to be on the show, and they're like, we have to hear this interview. So we're very excited to have you on. So what exactly is food politics?
Oh, I get asked that all the time. Everything about food is political. It's more than $1 trillion a year in sales in the United States, and there's advice about what to eat and what not to eat, and arguments about how food is produced. The COVID-19 pandemic has pointed up problems in the food system where workers in meatpacking plants are getting sick, but the owners of the meatpacking plants want them to work anyway. That's politics.
That's definitely very interesting. Now, speaking of COVID-19, people are now getting to growing their own food. What is the virus doing to the American food habits and just in general? How is this kind of a turning point or making a difference?
Well, it depends on who you are. As with everything else in America, people are very, very different, and the virus is having a different effect on people depending on where they live and how much money they have and whether they have a job that is still going on. If you're newly unemployed on unemployment benefits, on food stamps, then you're having a big problem taking care of your food needs. If you're retired as I am and you're in a safe place, you're growing your own food and having a wonderful time with it.
And as you said earlier, it all depends on where you're at, because if we look back, and there's even some tribes now, their biggest goal in life is to wake up, kill something, bring back, feed the tribe, and everybody's happy. We look at food in a very different way based on the culture that we're in, and sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. But yeah, if you're the one, it's all about, are you making the money or are you spending the money to, that type of thing when it comes to the food?
Well, like everything else, it depends on what your particular cultural experience is with food. And these days, how much money you have and whether you have an income is critically important. There are 40 million people on unemployment insurance. There's 65 million people who are on, 37 million people who are on, we're getting SNAP benefits, with huge waiting lists for all of these things, waiting lists at food banks, for, long lines at food banks for people to get food. I mean, this is a very complicated time right now, with people having very, very different experiences.
That's definitely very true. Now, you've written a few books, and your most recent book is Unsavory Truth, How Food Companies Skew the Science of What We Eat. What was your inspiration about writing this book, and what would you say that is something notable that readers would get from it?
Well, the book is about how food companies pay for research that gives them results that they could use in advertising. And what we know about industry-sponsored research, we know from the drug industry or from the tobacco industry, that the people who do the research don't really realize that they're being influenced by the money. That occurs at some kind of unconscious levels, and they don't really understand or feel that they're skewing their results in any way. But the observation is over and over again that industry-sponsored research almost invariably comes out with results that favor the sponsor's interest. So if you know that a food company has paid for research, you could pretty well predict what the results of the research study will be. And I got interested in that actually quite a long time ago, but my previous book was Soda Politics. And I wrote about how the soda industry, Coca-Cola in particular, was funding research in its own interest to demonstrate that Coca-Cola had nothing to do with obesity, that any research that showed that sugar-sweetened beverages have anything to do with obesity was so badly flawed you didn't have to pay attention to it, and so forth. But it wasn't just soda companies that were doing that. Lots of companies were doing that. I started collecting examples on my website and finally figured out that there was a book in that.
Well, that's definitely, that's another thing is that I don't think people realize how a lot of these studies are skewed because of who's funding them. And even to this day, like different polls that go out and, they're specific, like we've asked this many people, but they don't say we've asked this many people of this income in this neighborhood versus some sort of broader range. So that's very interesting.
So most people have heard about the 2,000 calories a day standard that we all are supposed to follow. Where did the ideal for this come from? Where was the foundation that somebody said, hey, this seems like a good number, let's go with that?
Well, the 2,000 calorie a day standard is a ballpark figure that nobody should take very literally. It was based on actual studies that looked at how many calories people were consuming, but they were based on studies that people were reporting as consumed, and those tend to underestimate actual consumption. But even when the studies are done more carefully, they show that it's really only a few hundred calories off. Men probably consume on average about 2,500 a day, and women somewhere around 22. But it was too complicated to do food labels based on 2,300 calories a day, so they chose 2,000 as kind of a compromise. Nobody should take it very seriously.
That's very interesting. Now there's a lot of conflicting information on vitamin D, whether you should take it through some sort of supplement, whether it's best to get it through the sun, do you get it through dairy? How would you say is the best way for people to get the vitamin D and have the best absorption of it for use for their bodies? Well,
first of all, vitamin D is not a vitamin, it's a hormone. And it's a hormone that is synthesized in a series of steps from sunlight on skin. So by far, without question, the best way to get it is to get out in the sun. And, let the sun shine on you for a while, and your vitamin D will be taken care of unless you live in a place where there isn't any sun, or you have very, very dark skin, or you don't go outside very much. But really, sunshine is the best way to do this. Otherwise, it's put into dairy foods and added to other kinds of foods. But it's not really something that we eat. It's something that we get from sunlight. I think of it as hormone replacement therapy, and I'm not really in favor of supplements. But I live in a place where there's sunshine in the summer at least.
Well, Marion, we greatly appreciate the time you've provided for us. Not only Holly and myself, we've learned a lot, as well as our listeners from across the country. How can people find out more about you? How can they get a hold of these books that you've been mentioning?
Well, everything in my life is on foodpolitics.com, where I file posts almost every day, and there's information about my books and my speaking and everything else I do. And anything you want to know, it's all there.
Well, it's been a great opportunity to speak with you, and we appreciate your time and informing us of things that many of us may not have been fully aware was going on behind the scenes.
Great. Happy to talk to you.
Thank you very much. When we come back, it's all going to be about your garden questions and our garden answers. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, a program to help your garden grow better, indoors and out.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants. To multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds, rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com. Use coupon code TWVG at checkout and get 10% off your entire order. Chip Drop is a website you can sign up for free wood chip mulch delivery right to your door for free. Chip Drop connects homeowners and gardeners with tree services who are trying to get rid of their wood chips. You can also sign up to get free logs and firewood. Go to chipdrop.com to learn more and sign up for a free account.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
Do not go anywhere. There is more of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show to come, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit PowerPlanter.com.
For all your indoor growing needs, equipment, and supplies, it's WeGrowIndoors.com.
Oh, yeah. What you say? You say Nasala Kombucha. It'll put some glide in your stride and some pep in your step. Nasala Kombucha. Yeah.
Nasala Kombucha makes your body happy. Nasala Kombucha makes your body smile.
Deer Defeat is an all-natural repellent to keep deer, rabbits, and groundhogs away from your precious plants. Deer Defeat protects your plants day and night, dries clear, and odorless. It will not clog your sprayer. Deer Defeat works for 30 days through rain, snow, and freeze. Safe, effective, and works on rabbits. Money-back guarantee. To purchase, go to DeerDefeat.com and use code RADIO to save 10% on your order. Deer Defeat. It can't be beat.
Conserve water, save time, reduce runoff, eco-friendly. Visit waterhoop.com.
When it comes to bulk landscaping materials, Bluemel's Garden and Landscape Center is where everyone goes. Whatever the project, we have the materials you need with over 40 varieties to choose from. Soils, mulches, gravels, decorative stones, fresh cut sod. Bluemel's has these products in stock and ready for easy pickup or fast delivery. So what are you waiting for? Now is the time to get your yard back into shape. Stop in and pick these materials up or call us for delivery today. Nobody does bulk landscaping materials better than Bluemel's Garden and Landscape Center.
Bluemel's 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Neptune Harvest, Happy Leaf LED, Dripworks, We Grow Indoors, Deer Defeat, Harvest More, Blue Ribbon Organics, Bluemel's Landscape and Garden Center, Chip Drop. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Now here are your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Thank you for being part of the program today. We're going to go over we're going to answer some of your garden questions. If you've got a garden question, you can certainly submit it a couple of ways. One being through email. You can send it to us at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. You can also give us a call anytime, day or night, at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-SHOW. Leave a message. We'll call you back if we can't get to you during the program with the answer to your question. Holly, we had a number of questions submitted this week, and let's go with the first one we have on the list.
Okay, so first off, they want to say thanks for the awesome show and the information we provide.
We try.
I constantly reference your Facebook and YouTube page. The question is, I've been mulching with pine needles on my plants. I'm in Zone 5 in Appleton, Wisconsin. Last year we planted our garden over Memorial Day weekend, and we didn't have any issues. Now this year I planted my garden same time and used the pine needles, but now I'm having some issues. The plants have gone from a nice green color to a yellow green color, and some have just died off. I did also add some fresh manure, and I'm wondering, is it the pine needle mulch? Is it the manure? What is it?
The pine needles would not be the problem here, and it would be the fresh manure. Based on the type of manure in which you have gotten, they had fresh cow manure.
Yeah, cow manure.
That's going to have a tremendous level of high nitrogen, which will burn the plants. You get it from the cow lot, you mix it in your garden, you do not let it go through a compostable stage or aging process. Your plants will die. They will get yellow. It burns the plants. It's too much nitrogen. It kills the plants. So now, you're at that stage. What do you do to fix the problem? Well, there's a couple of things in which you can do to remediate the soil. One is till the soil under, mix the soil up, water the soil to try to flush some of that manure and the components of that manure deeper into the soil. But it will take some time. It's not going to be, okay, I tilled and I watered and it rained for 2 days and now let's try to replant again. It's going to take about 4 or 5 months in order for it to naturally break down in the soil to get to that stage where you can plant a plant and it's not going to be fried because of that high level of nitrogen. There are some animal manures that you can mix directly into the garden that does not have that heat level or that high nitrogen level, and it's safe. So based on where you're at and the type of, whether you got rabbits or goats or cows or pigs or whatever, figure out what you have, and if you can mix it directly in, or if you have to age it for it to break down into a compostable form for it to be safe for your garden. Oh. All right, Holly, here's a question about canning. I've recently moved from a place that had well water that I used for canning, and now I have municipal city water that contains chlorine. Is it still safe for me to use that chlorine water when I can?
Yes, it is safe. You can use that chlorine water when you are canning. It's a very negligible amount.
Okay. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Any advice on how many days I should wait before resowing cucumbers that have not popped up yet?
If your soil temperature is about 65 degrees Fahrenheit, then a week is enough time, and then you'll know if they're going to pop up. I
think we had ours pop up in about 3 days, and we did a partial video on this particular topic of there are seeds that, it's XYZ type of cucumber. You plant them all, and like 30% come up one day and 40% come up, and some of them are slow to germinate, even though they're all from the same batch and the same seed packet. So just because they haven't all popped up, give that extra time. And then if they do come up and you've planted more, then you've got extra cucumbers or extra beans or whatever the case is. So it works out very well for you. Tanya has a question here.
I think that's Tanya, but I was wondering if you have done a show on Indian garlic. I'm so confused. I have been told it's called Indian garlic. It smells like garlic. Sometimes the stalks are stiff and in time create like a starburst seed on the tips. They look like onions. I'm not really sure what's going on. Do you know anything about Indian garlic?
Okay. What the description it sounds like is it's a garlic chive. It has the same characteristics as a garlic chive. It grows like a grass. That's what I would assume it is. I mean, as different cultures and different backgrounds and terminology gets passed down, different names are given that are not the appropriate name. And then it's in situations like this. Hey, have you ever heard of this type of product or this type of plant? When you have to revert back to, here's the description. Okay. And we've asked a couple of gardening, people in our circles, and they've all indicated that it sounds like it would be, garlic chives, would be the demonstration of the description of that. Now, if you have a name of a plant that you can't find any information on, you can always send us a picture along with the question to gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and we can help you figure out what that is. Here's a lemon tree question, Holly. I have a lemon tree. It's 5 years old and has produced fruit 2 times now, but the flowers appear and they fall off without any fruit. What can I do? What should I do? Any advice? Please help.
It sounds like the lemon tree is not doing well.
I think there's a couple of factors when flowers fall off of a fruit tree, of like a lemon tree. Could be cold temperatures. It could be immature, which now the tree's 5 years old. Typically it's between 3 and 5 years old is when that fruit begins to develop. And it could be a cold temperatures, lack of sun, flooding, too much water, or poor pollination. We had a dwarf lime tree in our kitchen, and we didn't have anything to pollinate it with, no insects. So we would take, as the flowers emerge, we would take a Q-tip and touch flower to flower to flower, and that's how we were able to pollinate and we did produce prolifically, until it got scale and died, or we got scale and we removed it because we just couldn't fight the scale. But those are some key things. If you have a fruit tree, it's too cold, it's too wet, or there's no pollination, in regards to that. Okay, next question here. I live in the Michigan Thumb area.
Lexington.
Yes.
My grass is over. My septic field is brown and sparse. Can I add peat moss and seed this area, or add organic matter for soil retention? Any ideas welcome. Well,
when it comes to growing over your septic tank, whether it's grass or edibles, there are some codes, I believe, based on your municipality, where you live. There's different codes in the restrictions of what you can and can't do around those type of items. So in a general sense here, and we can't give a legal advice or advise but generally, if plants are dying above the septic system, and the type of septic system, there's a lot of variables. It's a good thing because it's doing what it's supposed to do in the septic system world. We're not septicologists or anything like that. But I can only reference what occurred on the farm where I grew up. We had a septic system, and it was a tank that was buried about 2.5 foot below soil grade, and we had normal soil on top, and it was vented or it drained 150 yards away from the house, and we had a garden on top. We had berry plants on top of that septic system, and when we did have to access it, we had to dig a pretty deep hole in order to get to the lid to do what we needed to do inside of it. But there was no septic material anywhere close to the edible areas. It was, again, 150 yards from the location. So, you want to do your research. Kind of, not a great answer on our part, but there's a lot of variables when it comes to, growing and working around a septic system and growing either grass or edibles on that. Here's a good question for you, Holly. Can you plant bush beans indoors in a container under grow lights?
Yeah, you can do that. We've done this. It works great. We've done this a number of times. It works.
We use the Happy Leaf LED grow light. They're made in the USA. They're made out of the Chicago area. So it's done well. The nice thing about bush beans is you don't have to pollinate. They are self-pollinated. You can also put a little fan there, and it'll agitate the flowers and it'll be fine. So we've done it and worked very well. So yeah. That will be good for you. I think we got time for one more here.
I have tomato and chili plants in the bed, and they're about 8 inches tall. Can I cover the soil with cardboard around the plants?
Yes, you can, but here's the disclaimer. The question is to prevent prevent the weeds from coming up around the plants. If you have a irrigation system laying on top of the soil, like from Dripworks, you can put that cardboard on top and snuggle it around the plants very tightly. If you don't have an irrigation and you need the water from the rain and you watering, you want to leave about an 8 to 12 inch circumference around each plant so enough water can get into and around the base of the plant to hydrate the plant properly. Otherwise, you're going to pretty much choke it off from the moisture, whether you're giving it or the rain. So it will work. Some people are concerned about the toxicity of the glue that's in the cardboard manufacturing process. That's at your discretion. We've used it as mulch. It's worked very well for us. We've even taken thin cardboard and shredded it up and used it as mulch. But he's talking about using the full sheets of cardboard and cutting around the plants and using that as a weed barrier. Well, we are out of time, and we appreciate yours. We do appreciate yours. If it was not for you, we would not be able to do this. Miss any portion of this show or want to revisit it, you can certainly do that by going to our website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and clicking on the Season 4 radio tab at the top of the page. You can catch up on all past shows of Season 4 as well there. Or you can send us an email at gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and we will send you the link to this show. Tell your garden friends that this program is on the radio, because that is how this program gets heard and gets the message spread, as word of mouth and by gardener to gardener. Join us next week on the program when we'll be talking about dealing with powdery mildew, a problem that we're going to see, if not already being sawed, in our gardens, as well as getting the garden ready for fall, planting a fall crop, what we need to do now in order to have a harvest before our first frost. As well as our guest is Erin Sheinin. She is the founder of the ImpatientGardener.com, and will answer your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.